Welcome back to Tottenham on Tour's world famous advent calendar. It is day number 13, number 13, which means it's the start of the lowdown of some of the more funny players in the Tottenham on Tour calendar. But we are joined by my Achi, Mr. Daigle, we're joined by Elly, and we're joined by Mr. Flower for Flower Power, as Kim named him earlier. Flower Power is here. The 60s are back. We're going to win the double, and he's here. But firstly, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing very, very good, buddy. I'm been looking forward to these comical days. This isn't as comical as some of them are going to be, although I know someone on the bottom of this screen is going to have some fun with me when we get to a certain player. But very, very much looking forward to this, brother.
Miss Elly, how are you doing today, Miss? Always lovely to have you on the show.
I've been defending Højbjerg all day. It's very tiring. I'm so knackered. You know how it goes when you like a player and everybody else doesn't.
Who's next to you, by the way? And Mr. Flower. Flower Power. The 60s are back. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm fantastic. I can't wait to get this show on the road.
Damn right. Damn right. And it's customary on the Tottenham on Tour advent calendar that we start with a Christmas cracker joke. So, Mr. Flower, what is your Christmas cracker joke?
Why did Santa go to hospital?
All right.
Because of poor elf.
Okay, I'm feeling happy about mine still. I'm damn proud of mine.
Miss Elly, what is your Christmas cracker joke?
I've got the opposite to that. That is similar. Why don't you ever see Santa in a hospital?
Because he has private health care.
Correct.
Okay, I am damn proud of my one today.
Okay.
How much did Santa pay for his sleigh?
No,
nothing. It was in the house. It was on the house.
Very good.
I saw that one.
You got to find them. You got to find them and tell them. This isn't. At least we tried to tell a joke. This is you tell a joke.
And finally, mine. What's a goalkeeper's favourite snack?
I think Ireland said that one.
No,
he didn't. No, he didn't.
Enlighten us.
No, I don't know.
Beans on toast.
Can I lose?
Finally, day 13 of the Tottenham on Tour advent calendar, and it's 13, which is not necessarily a great number in the history of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. But Aki is the first person we're going to go for.
I will say what James was saying. At the moment, it's not a famous number. It could very well be becoming famous, but we are going to start.
When we're doing this in 10 years, Aki,
yeah,
this will be great.
Then it's a different story. Now, when we get to these numbers now, there are multiple players that wore different jerseys and different squad numbers. Jerseys, I've got North American. Tops during their time. And a player who was number 1, but was 13, the most iconic hairdo and the most flamboyant kids, it's Ian Walker, Ben.
Can you believe Ian Walker, the man with the great hair, played 259 games for Tottenham Hotspur Football Club? That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Utter rubbish about this man, but he's won 2 trophies. He won 2 trophies. He's won more than Harry Kane at Tottenham Hotspur.
Go on, Ian Walker.
Big up, Ian Walker. Big up, mate. But I don't know anything about this guy apart from the fact he joined in the late 80s, right? 89, and he was there as a stalwart for 10 years.
Yep.
He was part of the squad that won the FA Cup in 1991 and won the League Cup in 1999. He actually played in the game as well. From what I remember, he played in the game.
99, yes. 91.
He
No.
was not a good footballer, was he? He was good. But he won 2 trophies. So big up Ian Walker.
A round of applause for Mr. Walker.
Big up Ian Walker. That's my guy. I'd love to win 2 trophies at Tottenham Hotspur. And he's won them. That's all I can tell you.
Who are you going to, Ben? Who's going first? The Queen
Let's
or
go,
the
Elly.
Flower?
What do you remember at Ian Walker? The man was
Okay, right. So what I remember of Ian Walker is mostly his hairdos. He had this sort of parting that never sort of met, you know.
The one time Ellie has goddamn internet issues in weeks,
Give him my book.
and it's on the goddamn advent
Oh,
calendar.
Ellie's back. She's back.
Yeah.
She's
Ellie,
back.
start again.
Did I go off grid?
You went off the grid again. The one time your Wi-Fi.
That's probably
stopped
Ian
playing up.
Walker because he knows that I'm going to slate him. Right.
Damn right, Ellie. Continue.
Damn right I am. Right. So yeah, he was just pretty bang average goalkeeper. He wasn't particularly good at stopping shots either, which you're paid to do. His kicking was okay, but in those days it was just hoof it out. But he had a good old hoof on him. You know what?
Appearances, Ellie. 300 appearances for Tottenham.
I know. I just don't know how he did it, but we had Barry Daines before him. So, you know, he didn't have much to live up to. So they probably thought he's slightly better. We'll keep him for 10 years. And like you said, he won 2 trophies, so we can't dig him out completely. But what I saw of him, I just thought he was pretty bang average. You know, he was nothing to write home about. He's just you know, he was just in the team, but he wasn't particularly reliable. He'd make some really bad howlers as well. But remember, they played on a lot worse pitches then, so maybe now where your kicking is, you know, vital, he would have worked on that part of his game. But look, he had 10 years service with us, so you've got to give him his props to last 10 years at Spurs.
2 trophies.
I wonder who else has lasted 10 years.
Oh,
Would it be one
let's
Eric
not-
Dyer?
This is a Christmas show where we try
Be positive.
to stay away from a certain person and a certain ownership.
He's got
model.
2 trophies. He's got 4 trophies. Then
He's got 2 trophies, so we've got to
let's
dig him up.
just say he's the only person to win a trophy in this set, which is the first time I think we've had only one. But James, what do you remember?
Flower.
What do you
And
remember
also
about him?
props to him. Also props to him. He won it under a Gooner manager who we hired for that season. Yeah, so yeah, he was okay. He was just okay. That's
there you
all
go,
I can
James. How
say.
do you follow just okay, James?
Well, to be honest, it's going to be a bit. I've actually got a really good story about Ian Walker, and he's one of my favourite players because of it. So I had a friend who used to work at the training ground, and back in the day, they were sponsored by Adidas. They'd have these bright green bibs with big Adidas along the front.
Oh yeah.
And he bought me Ian Walker's. Like Ian Walker gave it to him because he used to clean all the kits, not the kits, the changing rooms, the showers, and things like that. He was like the cleaner, and he asked for like a bib, and that's who we got. He was working, and then obviously Ian Walker was there late one day, and he said, like, thank you for the bib. My friend really appreciated it. He said, is there any way he could come here tomorrow and I'd say hello and shake his hand, kind of thing. The following day, I went there with him. He did his job. I waited in the car. He come out. He gave me David Ginola's bibs. He gave me his gloves, signed his gloves. He gave me his bib, signed his bib. Gave me like a towel, a water bottle. Gave me so much stuff. So for me, regardless of the player, he was an absolute legend. Yeah, the fact that he waited behind, it must have been about 6, 7 o'clock at night. So he waited there for me and signed everything, gave me everything. I mean, I think in the loft, I've got Ginola's bib, I've got his bib, his gloves, a towel, like a little water bottle towel, a water bottle. I've got loads of stuff. So for me, I don't care how good he was on the pitch. Such a lovely guy for doing that. So hats off to him. And I was only about 12. I was only about 12. So the fact that he kind of did that was, I mean, especially as he gave me things like David Ginola, who is the reason I'm a Spurs fan. He gave me his bib and it was all signed. And I gave him my football shirt and he made sure everyone signed it and gave it back to me. So I've got like a signed Spurs shirt. Really nice. Really nice.
So
I feel guilty now.
I have a story about Ian Walker. I've got a couple. Well, first of all,
this is tripping me out. This I'm left, right, up, down.
I was like, wait a minute, where are we? We're playing
the right thing.
We're playing Celebrity Squares, James. So yeah, Ian Walker. Listen, I will say he may not have been the great goalkeeper, but he made some great saves, single saves. One of my first ever away games. We played Everton away, and at the time they were sponsored by Danker, which was like a Kodak company, and my uncle was very, 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 very high up in that company.
Right.
So we went to that game in hospitality with Everton, and Ian Walker made one of the most breathtaking saves I've ever seen live, ever. He was the goalkeeper when I started having my season ticket, so I remember him clearly. But James, your story is a lot better than mine because we had, and I've said this before, but if I'm not going to tell it now, there's never a better time to tell it. When he, like Ellie said, when we had Ian Walker in goal, our team was bad. It was so bad in the 90s. Listen, there's no getting away from it. The reason he stayed for 10 years was we just had a mediocre team. And it got so bad. Where I had my season ticket, there was about 10, 15 of us that all obviously had the plates over the years. We all got talking. We all knew each other. It got to the point that the football was so bad at every home game, we'd get 15 sticks, and whoever got the short straw had to be the counter of the bet. And we all put a tenner in every single week. And basically, that guy who got the short straw, the short stick, his sole responsibility for 90 minutes was to watch Ian Walker and count how many times he ran his hand through his hair. Love playing with those curtains.
259 games.
So literally, for I don't know how many years, if it was I can't remember, it was a season or two, one unlucky bastard had to literally spend the whole 90 minutes looking at that end or that end and just counting 1, 2, 3. Literally, we used to put a bet. Who got
the amount of L'Oreal we probably went through with him and David Ginola and
Oh yeah, but mate, he didn't have L'Oreal. He had that fine hair, that Peter Andre hair back in the day. Series well.
He had good hair. He
had great hair, mate. He had great hair. That's what he'll be known for. Now we're going to move on to a goalkeeper that I loved. He was very Marmite with fans. I loved Neil Sullivan. Absolutely loved this guy. I mean, Ben, again, it's a little bit before your time. People will remember him famously because it's Beckham that scored that goal against him for Wimbledon.
Yeah.
But Ben, do you know anything about this man?
I can't remember anything. I cannot remember. Apart from when I was first going to White Hart Lane, Casey Keller was in goal and he was at the top and he never played. That's all I can remember of Neil Sullivan. He just was not was it in the early 2000s, late 90s? Yeah. He was never really playing. It was when Casey Keller came in. He was America's number one at that point.
He was really good at Chelsea. I think we then got he kind of with a goalkeeper. I think they make
of him. We got
I think once the goalkeeper makes a few mistakes, they just kind of spiral down, don't they? And it's a long road.
He was not a good goalkeeper at top. I can't really remember anything of him.
James, can you?
Yeah.
I remember bits and pieces, yeah. But like I said, I remember his best years were definitely at Chelsea. Definitely at Chelsea. And he was one of these he's one of these keepers that would make a fantastic save, but then roll it out to the striker. Like that's how I describe him. He'd make the best save you'd see, and then he'd just roll it out to the striker, and he would be like, okay, this is why Casey Keller was there.
Casey Keller was also awful as well.
I'm going to have a lot to say on this.
Let's
see what Ellie has to say.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
I always quite rated him because he was a really good shop stopper, and I remember liking him a lot. Because I saw him at Chelsea and I thought we've signed a good keeper here, right? And I can understand what you're saying, James, but I always thought he was pretty good, and he was good at the high ones. He was good at getting down low. He was a pretty solid goalkeeper. Give him his dues. Probably we got him after he'd seen his best days, and probably didn't have performed to the high standard when he first started his career. But what I remember of him, I thought he was quite solid, you know, and I can't remember him rolling it out to a striker, to tell you the truth. But, you know, your memory fades with years, and sometimes you block out the nasty bits, don't you, just to keep yourself sane, you know. Yeah, so I quite rated him, actually, and I liked it when we signed him. I was quite excited. But then, obviously, he wasn't at the end of his career, but we'd signed Casey Keller, and you know it was downhill from there because Casey Keller was our number one, and he was always going to be ahead of him.
He was terrible.
I have to tell you,
yeah, but the thing is, he was terrible. But they probably thought at the club, like when Lloris was losing his handling, they probably thought Neil Sullivan's not quite it. And they probably thought Casey Keller was the solution. But in fact, it didn't work out that way so much. But there you go. That's that. I can remember him. I thought he was a pretty decent goalie.
I have to tell you, we signed him straight from Wimbledon. So he hadn't played for Chelsea, but it was Wimbledon, and then he came to us. I love this man. I loved this man. You said it, Ellie. His shot stopping was brilliant on its day. But one thing I love him for, and I've put it in the description, you go back and watch any North London derby whilst he was in goal. The game should have been a cricket score to the Filth. A cricket score. No matter what happened, this guy, the draws we got against the Filth on the games he played are only draws because what this man did. I absolutely loved this goalkeeper. It's a shame he only played 64. I mean, we've had a bad, James knows who's coming at the end. So when we talk about a bad goalkeeper, obviously 13 normally resembles you are second choice goalkeeper. So,
whoa.
No, I said normally.
Whoa. He's your second choice. He might be your second choice, but we'll leave.
We'll leave that. Listen, let's not get mixed up here. I know what's coming. I'm going to take my lumps. I'm ready to do it, but we're going to move on because 13, since squad numbers became involved, became an outfield player for the two numbers we're going to talk about. And I'm gutted this player didn't work out, and I really thought it would. We're going to talk about BBC's Danny Murphy. Ben, surely you remember this man.
I remember him. He was a good leader of a football team, and I don't understand why he didn't work out. He joined. I don't even know if he actually won a League Cup under Juande Ramos because he was part of that squad, wasn't he?
Nope.
Did he not get enough appearances in that year, 2008?
Nope.
But either way, he did not work out. He was a good player for Fulham and for Liverpool. It just
very
didn't
good.
I've made a mistake. We've got this wrong. It should have been the next person first. But yeah, that's a slip.
Danny Murphy was there before William Gallas. William Gallas joined.
Oh, you're just giving away the next person? We're on fire today.
We're on
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
it's Christmas.
He was a solid player, but not in our team under Juande Ramos. He didn't have the right partner. He didn't have the leadership material in that team. We had plenty of leaders in that team with Ledley King, Robbie Keane, Berbatov. We had Paul Robinson. We had some good leaders in that team, and he just sort of went and missed that. He was never going to be a leader in that team. No. But what do you remember of that team, Ellie, with Danny Murphy?
Yeah, you know what? He was sort of a bit player, wasn't he? He didn't really establish himself at our club. But I know when we signed him from Liverpool, I was quite excited because I thought what I saw of him at Liverpool, very good at moving the ball, keeping the ball, tenacious in the tackle. But we didn't see much of that because he didn't get a lot of game time, did he? I mean, you've got it there. He only played 22 times for us. So it was a shame that it didn't work because, like you said, Ben, I think he had really, really brilliant leadership qualities and he could have brought a lot of flavour to our team in that respect. But he didn't really break in. He wasn't fancied very much by the manager.
He loves
So
Tottenham,
it's
though.
a shame.
He really likes Tottenham. Whenever you talk, when he
I
sees,
know.
he
He's got a
really
soft
likes
spot for us,
Tottenham.
hasn't he? Yeah, and I like that because we've got a lot of other players who haven't got a soft spot for
Yeah,
us.
but he
Not
really
mentioning
likes
any names. Yeah, and he's a very intelligent football pundit. As football pundits go, I quite like to hear what he's saying. But on the pitch, we could have used him a lot better, and he would have had a really good career with us. He just didn't fit in with that manager, so he didn't really break into the team as much
Where
as
have
he
we heard
wanted
that
to.
before,
And
Ellie?
then he got frustrated. I think he went to Fulham after that, didn't
He
he?
did, and he did
Yeah,
really well at
and
Fulham.
he did brilliantly at Fulham. Yeah,
Yep. James,
yeah.
what do you remember?
Yeah, so I remember quite a lot. Obviously, Grandad was a massive Fulham fan,
Yep.
and obviously for us, he was like, "Oh, what do you think?" And I said, nah, not very good. He'll do you a good turn, but not very good." And I remember sort of 6, 7, 8 weeks later, he was like, "This guy's amazing. Why did you let him go?" But I'd liken him to somebody like Skip. You know, I think they're not quite top of the table quality, but if they was to go bottom half of the table, they'd be stand out head and shoulders above the rest. And that was the kind of player I think he was.
Wow. I mean, all I can say with that is obviously when he left Crewe for Liverpool, we were heavily lined for him and wouldn't pay the price. Moving on.
Really?
Are you sure?
Moving on.
Danny
Don't
Murphy
believe
played
you.
169 times for Fulham, so it's not like he did a short stint at Fulham. He played a
Oh
lot of
no,
games.
and this is the thing. The thing is,
169.
like I said, we wouldn't pay the asking price. Shocking, but tell you the truth, and this is honest. He's a Liverpool fan. It was never going to happen. When Liverpool came in, it was like open and shut case. Done. I'm going Liverpool. He was brilliant at Liverpool. His passing, his teamwork, he's scared to death out Man U with his free kicks. Then he comes to Tottenham. I thought, you know what? This is what we need. Bit of steel. He had a bit of steel about him as well as a bit of creativity, and was lethal at set pieces. And I just still to this day cannot work out how this didn't work out or how he didn't get more game time. Because, like we've just said, he went on to Fulham and was immense. He was huge for Fulham. Absolutely massive.
To a semi-final, beat Juventus.
Yeah,
Beat
he was
Juventus for
insane. He was insane. And we'll move on to the next 13. And now this one is going to split opinions because this guy plays for two of the enemies and came to the club. We're going to talk about William Gallas. And Ben, again, this is going to be right in your starting time of going, isn't it?
Yeah, he was a great player for Tottenham. People will see 61 games for Tottenham and think, oh, he was one of the players we needed at that time under a Harry Redknapp team that had never played in the Champions League before. I think he played against AC Milan in that second leg as well. He was a very strong player for Tottenham. He played in that North London derby that got that 3 points there when Yunus Kabul scored in the 90th minute. Big up Yunus Kabul. What a guy. He was a solid player for Tottenham. You might not think it, but he was the player. He was the hero we needed, not the guy we wanted.
I love when you use that line. I love it when you use that line.
He was the hero we needed because he came into that team and added some skill. He played alongside Michael Dawson or alongside Jonathan Woodgate. I believe he played in that first season. He was immense. I think people don't realise how good a player he was for Tottenham. And maybe it was because he played for Arsenal and he wore a stupid number. He wore the number 10 shirt as a centre-back, which is the most ridiculous number. And obviously cried on the pitch at Birmingham, which still makes me laugh. But as a player for Tottenham, he was a solid player. He was really solid for us. And he took us through from that first time into the Champions League, and he played a few games for us. So all respect to William Gallas. All respect to the guy. He didn't do a bad job. And I've got respect for him. Ellie, what do you remember about William Gallas?
I remember him being a solid defender, and I remember him being quite a silky defender as well. Yeah, really competent on the ball, moving it, coming out of defence with the ball. Very, very, very good at bringing the ball out and driving through the middle for us, a bit like Romero does for us now. And my undying memory of him was when he slumped to the floor when we beat the Scum 3-2 at their ground. And he was literally kissing the grass, thinking, yes, we've done it. We've finally beaten the Scum at their ground, and it was so good because he was a gooner before as well, and I just remember him being a really good egg on the pitch as well, like really
solid defender.
Yeah, a solid defender, but he's played with a smile on his face, and he was very committed. He won loads of challenges for us. He wasn't like a dirty player either. He always won the ball quite fairly, and he was just a ball playing centre half in my book. And I thought he fitted very well, and he done very good for our club. So hats off to William Gallas. I liked him. I think he was a really, really good player.
James, what are you going to say?
I didn't like him.
There you go. I knew
I didn't like him.
One. It had to be one.
Something just doesn't sit right. I just can't take to players like that, to be honest. Like, you go from Chelsea to Arsenal, or Arsenal to Chelsea, or then Spurs, and it's just I don't. He wasn't a bad player. He wasn't a bad player, and I would actually like someone like him in the squad now, a bit older, a bit more experienced. Like Van der Ven is coming in, and he's got to lean on Romero. But who's Romero leaning on? Somebody like him in the background would be amazing for that. So the bit that don't sit comfortable with me is who he played for before us. I don't know. I just can't get it out of my head. It just doesn't sit right with me. But as a player and as like a calm head, like you said, he was great on the ball, very cool, calm, collected. I thought him. I mean, obviously Dawson had King next to him, but when he didn't, he could have a calm head, so it kind of calmed Dawson down. I think, maybe like a Ben Davies, you would say, like a 7 out of 10 every week. It was that sort of player. He was never going to get an 8, but he was never going to get a 5.
Yeah. See, I mean, I've got to say with this guy, when he signed for Chelsea, I was like, Chelsea got a very good player there. You knew it was getting French. I don't even know where Welsh came from. French centre back, established international, and then I'll remember he scored a cracker against us in a Chelsea shirt outside of the area, end of the game. When our Stamford Bridge hoodoo was still going on. I was in a bar in Elatt and I went livid, absolutely livid. I was like, you little. So I always had a little thing that I just couldn't stand about it. It's like, you. Then he went down the road. When we signed him, I was like, okay, love the player's great. Like you, James, where he's come from, he's got baggage. He's got serious baggage, and he's going to have to prove himself to me. And you know what? No other game, and Ben mentioned it, that 3-2 at the Emirates was one of the best displays I've seen in a centre-back.
He was
to go to that ground and put in that... I remember seeing him come off... When they were going over to the away fans to say thank you, he was absolutely exhausted. I mean, he put in a skipper's performance without being skipper. And then you again, Ben, and the 2 games I was going to mention, you mentioned that AC Milan, we were 1-0 up from the Peter Crouch goal. We were defending that lead.
He was excellent.
He was awesome. He was absolutely excellent. This is where, like you said, James, his experience was invaluable to us. And if he hadn't have had the baggage, let's call it, that he'd had, I think he'd be a lot more better received than what he is. But he makes this. But now we're not going to talk about bad baggage. We're not going to talk about the enemy. We're not going to talk about goalkeepers that weren't that good. We're going to talk about that guy.
David Raya.
Me and James are going to... He's started already, and me and James will go into this. We're going to bring out our current reigning, defending number 1.
Vicario.
I mean, listen. I mean, before I hand over to Ben, the one thing I've got to say is, you look at this list. This is a guy that's played 13 games.
Yeah.
And everyone, it doesn't matter who we had on, won't find a bad word to say about him. Ben, I'm going to hand over to you. This is James's specialist subject. And I've got a feeling that I'm going to get a bit ribbing here. So, Ben, over to you.
He's so awesome so far in his career. I know it's only 13 games into his career.
Well, actually, look at that. Number 13. How many appearances?
Yeah, 13. But he's as quick as a cat. He's got all the communication skills you need for a proper leader of a football team. He screams at his defenders, makes some amazing saves. I'm loving this guy so far. Everyone knows that the Koff loves Italy. I spend a lot of time in Italy. And when I was in Sardinia in the summer, I was with a good guy that was also, he's a Fulham fan. I was on holiday with him. And I said, what do you think of Vicario? And he said, he's not Italy's number one next year. Like, he said that before we knew anything about him, before he even kicked the ball. He is Italy's number one. Like, before Donnarumma, this is a top goalkeeper. Buffon rates this guy. When Buffon rates you, you must be half decent. He's as quick as a cat. He's just brilliant. Great distribution. He's working very well in this Ange Postecoglou team. I'm loving this guy so far. And hopefully
that's the end of the show. That's the end of the show, everyone.
Molto bene, Vicario. Guillermo. Molto buono. Molto buono.
Who are you going to, Ben?
Let's go to Ellie.
Okay. Oh my God. Right,
It's
probably
good for James and then me. It probably goes
He's
better.
the death chamber.
It's go on, Eddie. Fire away with big.
I follow Ben, but I'm going to try my best to equalise, down here. Right, so Vicario. Okay, so I was on a podcast, right, about maybe three weeks after we'd signed, maybe 2 or 3 weeks after we'd signed him. It was pre-season, right? And this Italian journalist was on this podcast, and he was saying how fantastic Vicario is, and that he's got a high ceiling, that everybody's bigging him up. Dino Soff had bigged him up, and he was talking about him, all these articles he's written throughout his career because he's been following him. So I thought, right, I'm going to check him out anyway because he's going to be playing pre-season. So I checked him out, and I found out so much really good information about what he does privately. He housed some refugees, I think they were, if I remember rightly.
Yeah.
And then
Ukrainians, wasn't it?
Yeah, Ukrainians, yeah. Right. So I knew he was a good guy in his heart as well. And then you see him play with passion and fire, and the way he celebrates every save, the way when we score, he charges down the pitch to celebrate with the players and jumps up into the crowd at the end of the game, to say, yes, we've won. And like even against Newcastle, he's giving loads of shithousery to Callum Wilson over the Richarlison Mickey take, So I love him. I think he's all blood and thunder. He plays with his heart on his sleeve. He's like a fantastic goalkeeper. He's brilliant at stopping high shots, low shots. What a sweeper keeper he was at Chelsea as well. Amazing performance against Chelsea. He was just incredible. And I absolutely love the player. I love everything about him, his heart, his soul, and his goalkeeping skills. And he's only going to get better and better as his career goes on. So I'm really looking forward to him lifting some trophies for us, because I'm sure he'll be bringing those trophies, because he will fight to the end, this player, this goalkeeper, and I love him. I think he's awesome.
James.
Yeah,
okay, I've got to go somewhere. Bye. I've got. No, let's do it. Come on, James. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Power.
It doesn't matter what Buffon said. Brian said he wants David Raya, so forget Buffon. Brian knows what he's talking about. So for me, I had a friend who was Italian, and we're really close until I moved sort of to Norwich, and we don't see each other too much anymore. And it was about the time, or it was about 2 years after Donnarumma went to PSG, and I went to him like, bloody hell, you're starting to get like that keeper is unbelievable. And he said, no. He said, trust me, there's someone called Vicario, and he's better than him. And this was 2 or 3 years ago. And I said, no way, like Donnarumma's the man. And he was like 19. I was like, he's the man. He went, no, trust me. I was like, okay. And then we was linked or was it like 6 months before we actually signed a keeper? We was linked with quite a lot of keepers. Was it 6 months or a year before?
That's 6 months ago, yeah.
Yeah, before he signed, 6 months before he signed, obviously his name popped up, and I was like, please, like you've got to get this guy. I was watching little bits and pieces of him, and then it didn't happen. And then Brian come into the picture, and he was like, David Raya, this is a joke. He's a cheap option. Don't even know who this guy is. We need to Google him. And then I sent a lovely tweet to my man up there, saying, you're always saying you want to be like Brighton. Until we act like Brighton, explain yourself.
Yes.
And then he sent me a lovely message back saying, yeah, you're right, I apologise, blah, 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 so on and so on.
And that's the thing at Tottenham on tour, James. If we get things wrong, we will put our chest out and say we got it wrong. We're not like other channels that say, no. We own what we say.
But I don't think this is one of the things I say to everybody. There's not getting it wrong. You can be convinced by a player. There's nothing being wrong about it, other than wanting Raya. That's wrong. But other than that, you can be convinced by a player. And the first time I come down and joined, like, I was desperate for you guys to do a protest at the friendly, because obviously for me and my boy now, it's too far. It's not the ticket price that's the expense, to be honest. It's getting there, staying down there, food, getting back. Like, it's expensive. So when the friendly come up, I was like talking to Brian. I said, look, you've got to get me down there. Like you've got to all meet there at some point. It wasn't the greatest turnout, but it was nice to meet everybody.
Yeah.
We went into the game, and that was his first game sort of at home, and we sat right behind the goal. We was 2 or 3 seats behind the goal, and he did not shut up. He did not shut up, and he was screaming at players. He wasn't like left, go right. He was like abusing players, like, you need to be here, you need to be there. We'd make a clearance, he'd run up to him and punch him. He's like, that's what we need, blah, blah, so on. And even when we was attacking and the ball's down the other end, he's almost like on his hands and knees. He's kind of like crouching down to see what he's trying to tell people. And that was the one thing that I didn't know he was very good at until sort of going there and seeing him in the flesh. And I think the rest, to be honest, is just, need us say anything more. I think it might have been Redknapp. It might have been Jamie Redknapp said the most important thing about a goalkeeper is making the saves that he should save. That's when you're a good goalkeeper. If you save the shots that you should save. Most keepers can save the hard shots. It's the bread and butter shots that they can't deal with. And so far, I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I haven't seen him make one howler where I go, come on, you should be doing better there.
Talker, though. He is a talker.
Yeah.
It's something I love in a centre-back
fantastic.
and a goalkeeper. He is a future captain of Tottenham.
But look what he says. The comments that he comes out, I'll bleed for Tottenham. I love Tottenham this, and I love Tottenham that. And every day I go into Tottenham training ground, and it's my dream. It's like, man, you're a legend already. I don't care. 13 games, that could end there, and you'd be a legend to me.
Yeah.
Listen. It's my turn to retort. So, obviously, and you know what? In our little group chat that we do have, I regularly get ribbed for this, and it's all good banter. It's all good banter. Look at James sitting back there like he's just got the cat that's got the cream. So listen. We were talking about this, and I was like, listen, you guys have got to let it go. I've said I'm sorry. I've said it.
Never.
And literally, I went back and I said to James, hold the line. I'm just going to go get that breakdown that I had. And it was a breakdown. And it wasn't a breakdown about Vicario. I went mad. Wasn't. I went mad when the Raya deal went dead, because I thought, here we go again. This is before Ray had even been mentioned. That morning. Went absolutely nuts. You can check it. Just type in "We Are Tottenham TV." Shout out to the mothership, Raya deal or whatever.
It's well worth it. He went full Danny Rose. I don't know who he is. I've got a YouTube.
I couldn't remember. I was like, is Raya? Does he have the Premier League experience? Is he homegrown? Is he this? Is he this? all of the equation looked like it was adding up. And then that evening, and I can remember me and Ryan were at my parents were on holiday. It was just before my birthday. Taking out my sister's dog for a walk, and the news broke about Raya. Me and Ryan, people will know us, thick as thieves. He's a little brother to me. We got into such a domestic walking my sister's little dog, and it's only a small little dog, shouting and screaming down my road. Oh, this is a cheap option. He's done it again. Leave his up. Every word under sun from me. And Ryan was actually like, no, we don't know what this guy's like. This could be a good deal. Then James sent the tweet. And I can't remember it. I can't remember it being aimed at me, but
it wasn't.
But it was gentrified. How can people say you want to do this data analysis? And then when we do the data analysis, and I messaged her straight away and I said, do you know what? You're bang on the money. And I retracted what I said, not knowing how this goalkeeper was going to do. He signed, and I think like a lot of people, let's not joke about here. A lot of people thought the cheap option. Yeah. A lot of people, a majority. And listen, every fan was in their right to think that because of past history. But my God, did I get a humdinger wrong? Because this man, honestly, the biggest praise I can give to him is you look at goalkeepers, and I've mentioned this before, you look at United when they lost Schmeichel, Van der Sar and De Gea. Look what they're going through right now with Nana. Look what they went through look at Arsenal, the filth with De Gea. Not De Gea, with Seaman and Lehmann. You can go through, look at Liverpool when they lost Jerzy Dudek until they got Alex. Yeah. Look at so many teams take so long to get this position right. Now, we've got it right first time, and the credit goes to the scouting department, the ball, blah, blah, blah. I saw him in pre-season.
Because
I saw him in pre-season.
Because
I saw him in pre-season, and shot stopping, he looked exceptional. A couple of rash coming out and whatever, and in Brentford, he was rash with they could have had a penalty, whatever. But anyway, it was his debut, whatever. The Manchester United game, he already became. It was like Danny Rose scoring that goal against the filth. He makes goalkeeping look easy.
Look, the best way I'd say is that Chelsea game.
Mate, the Chelsea game, you talk about Matt Letizia having goal of the month all to himself. Save of the month could have easily been just him. But do you know what I love about him? And the best I can say about it is even when he made that screw up against Man City with that playing the ball from short, the save he makes from Bernardo Silva is exceptional. And the biggest compliment I can give him to round off this edition is people will know very well, especially Ben, who sat with me and been to games and whatever, Elly, James, whenever Hugo Lloris was in goal and we're playing from the back, not just myself, I used to have it. Get rid of it. Now he has the ball. Peace personified. Wow. Okay, we'll deal with it. So that's what I can say. What an addition, and we will be talking about. I think this guy is better than Hugo, or will be better than Hugo. This guy's going to do it. But you know what? It's time
can I add one more thing? I just want to add one more thing.
Because it's you and everything we've been through, I'm going to let you have the final say on Vicario.
This is my moment. With that, I don't know if you guys saw James Maddison's interview. Have any of you seen the extended?
Yeah.
So he come out and said he did a Brian, and he said I didn't know who he was, so I had to YouTube him. And they said, what do you think of him? You know, Ben Foster was like, what do you think of him? He said, no, this guy is a joke. He said, every penalty I get, every free kick I practice, every shot, I refuse to have anybody else in the goal. It has to be Vicario because his shot stopping is immense. And for someone like Maddison to say that is just confident. It's just like, how good would that be? You know, I believe that a good centre-back pairing becomes a great centre-back pairing if they've got a good goalkeeper behind. And with somebody like that, and if Maddison's saying that, Romero is saying that, Van der Ven is saying that, Udogi, Paul, they're all saying that. So it's like, obviously they don't want to let their man go, but they know, okay, well, if you've gone free, you've still got to beat Vicario. Like it just breeds confidence. So I think it's such important to sort of keep him and those back three together just for a few years and let them fester together, and you'll get a.
Again, to repeat it, if Buffon, one of the greatest goalkeepers ever, rates you, take notice.
Yeah, Brian.
There you go. Well, Ellie, where can people find you?
They can find me at Just a Girl Loves Spurs, as in my description. Tomorrow we've got a really good show at 8 o'clock in the evening called To Dare Is to Debate with me, Kate, and Mia, where we debate the game and we debate other things. So I'm going to be hosting tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. And then you can always find me on Talk and Ball and Coovan the Kang in the evenings on a Friday, having a laugh. And anywhere else I'm invited. Tottenham on tour, of course. I'll put my name down. Sometimes I wake up, sometimes I don't.
No, that's true.
I really apologise if I've overslept, Brian.
No worries. Thank you for joining us.
From lack of trying. Sometimes
no worries, Brian. Thank you.
I'm a very nocturnal person, so yeah. Lack of sleep comes with the territory in my house.
All good. And Mr. James Flower, 1238912, whatever the numbers are on your bloody Twitter. Where
I need to change that.
Find you?
So I will either be on Twitter telling Brian that we wish we signed David Raya, or I'll be on Tottenham on tour telling Brian that we should have signed David Raya. So
you've got a new nickname which you got from Kim on the Coffee Company. Flower Power, peace and love.
It's always been the same. It's always that's what my WhatsApp name. It's been like that since a young age.
Flower Power,
peace and love. And obviously we've got lots coming on. Advent calendars. Tomorrow is actually day 14, which is an incredible day. I can tell you. And then we've obviously got anger management on match days. Cockerel Doodle Doo before the Advent calendars. So thank you all for your support. We had 7,700 views on the 13th. So thank you very much indeed, people. Ben, where can people find you and what's going on at the Coffee Company?
Coffee Company usual. Good chats, nice times, good coffee, hot chocolates, and all the nice chats that you want to go to. So find us at the Coffee Company. But from everyone at Tottenham on tour, we wish you a wonderful Christmas period and a wonderful festive season. Treat yourself. Have a great time. Spend time with your family. Thank you all so much for watching today's show. See you tomorrow. And come on, you Spurs.
David Raya in.
Come on, you Spurs.